What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Donna Summer, and we're returning to the Endless Summer compilation. Thank you as always to Scott. And the next track is Love is in Control, and then parenthetically, Finger on the Trigger, which that's an interesting juxtaposition of two phrases. I mean, love is in control, to me, suggests not being in conscious, deliberative control of your actions or your feelings. It's love itself. It's the state of being in love that is now guiding your behavior, your thoughts, your feelings. Finger on the trigger sounds like, something that's just about to happen or ready to fire, but has not yet happened. So I suppose I could conceive a scenario in which someone is feeling like they're not able to stop themselves, but they're just short of having fully committed or fired their shot, so to speak. But yeah, I do wonder, number one, if this is a Donna original. Number two, given that there was an earlier track on here which did not indicate that it was a duet, I wonder if she will be singing by herself. So again, bear with me as I go through this early exploration of her material via this compilation. So yes, this is Love is in Control, Finger on the Trigger by Donna Summer, included on the Endless Summer compilation.
But I know since I've been
it is a long fade, but it occurred to me as that last measure came to an end that it had been in this cycle, the repeating loop for the previous measure, so I felt like a fade out was inevitable when it began this last measure, and sure enough, that's what happened. Though it was a longer, more gradual fade than I expected, which I will always appreciate. Again, fade out endings come to a nuanced opinion about them, but the more gradual ones I do think tend to work better because they really do give you that sense of like, this groove could go on forever. And speaking of this groove, I'd say this is very much in like the disco funk territory, though to me it's like it hits more as a funk track than a disco track, even though again I definitely could see it on a disco dance floor. But yeah, the funk element really does come through, and I enjoy the different instrument parts, in particular the saxophone. Those who've been here for a while will not be surprised that the saxophone stood out to me as much as anything. And yeah, I enjoy her vocals, especially like when it, I don't know if it's like the pre-chorus, but it's like when it transitions from what I think is like the verse into the chorus or pre-chorus, she gets like deep and guttural. She went like down low and with a lot more like fire. So I enjoyed when she went down into her lower range for that and like, turned up the heat in those vocal moments. That was very enjoyable. And obviously we have a lot of like gun or shooting metaphors here, aiming and hitting the target, and her mom telling her to load up her gun correctly, which feels like it would be a different kind of line if it was said to a son rather than a daughter. But either way, the idea that like she didn't really get the metaphor and she didn't really, have a sense for what that was all about until this guy came walking into her life, and now, it makes sense to her and she gets the wisdom of what had been told to her. But again, whether it's, the gun smoking or the shooting aspect of it, his name's on the bullet and so on, it's all sort of playing off of that type of imagery and concept as it relates to feelings and infatuation and making sure you get your target before they get away, before they escape and are captured or shot by somebody else. So yeah, it's a clever turn of songwriting, and yeah, just a fun tune. It's, I felt myself groove into it, and definitely, as I said, it had a funkiness. So yeah, an enjoyable track. I do once again wonder, is this a Donna original, or is this a tune that has been done by others, or came from someone else and this is actually a cover? When we come back next time, if I can read, I'm not even sure I can read this. This is what happens when you get older. Hold on, I just need better light, that's the problem. But okay, when we come back next time, the following tune will be State of, is it Independence? Yes, I think it's Independence. So yes, it'll be State of Independence. As I said, big thank you to Scott for the CD, and as I've mentioned before, we do have a live Donna Summer performance CD that will come after this. So yeah, let me know what you think here, and I will see you next time. Peace.